Good to get a win, obviously. Kind of a grinder of a game. Obviously our first and third quarters were not good on offense, and that, I think, turned it into a game that was kind of played that way. I think that one of the things I was happy with in the first half was offense was hard, and I thought our defense stayed relatively consistent. We made them try to earn baskets and held them down. If we don't keep focus on the defensive end, then we would have had a pretty good hole by the way we started on offense. So, that part's a positive, and yet you just can't start 3 for 16, and that's one of the, I don't know how to, that's hard to say or do or what, you just can't do that, and it's hard to tell them to do anything about that, but it's just kind of like we just can't do that, and we did the same thing out of the third quarter. So I need to change what I'm talking about pregame and in the locker room so we can come out a little bit faster. But the last time we were in here, we came out extremely fast. So that's the way games are sometimes. You never know. I thought in the second half we didn't play with as much energy as what we did in the first half, especially on the defensive end. I think their points show that. Fouls, we fouled way too much and things like that. So I know we can play a lot better, and I know I think it was a solid day. I don't think our highs weren't real high, but our lows weren't real low either. Even when it wasn't going great, I think our structure kind of held together, and that's how you kind of grind your way to a 13-point win there. And so happy with that we ultimately got it done. Know that we've got to continue to progress and get better.
Coach, you had 32 threes in the whole game. Is that like a big game plan for you all to make sure you put up that many?
No, our game plan is shoot good shots, and I think that for the most part we did. There wasn't a lot of forces in there. I know we need to make a little bit more than 8 for 32. So if we're going to shoot that many, we've got to make sure we're investing the time in the game shots when we're tired and different things like that. So we make that number ought to be 10, 11, 12 or higher on 32 attempts, and I think they were good shots, a lot of them. So I can't think of many that I were like, wow, we should have moved that one. Ball moved pretty well. Our assist number really wasn't very high because we just didn't make any shots. So I thought our ball movement was really pretty good, and it is what it is. But it's also good to find a way to win on a day that you do have quarters where you go 3 for 16 and 3 for 14. That's 6 for 30, and you still win with relative, drama-free. And I just know that we're capable of more, and I think they feel that too. But basketball's that way. You go through that sometimes. It doesn't always. You don't always shoot the percentage you're capable of, and you've got to continue to do everything else when you're maybe down a little bit on that side of the ball.
11 o'clock play into that at all, maybe?
We practice every morning,
Yeah.
so no, I don't make any excuses. No, you got to be ready to play, and you got to be ready to. When you get your shot, you got to knock it in. So I don't think at all, not at all.
I know you had a big second quarter, and Taylor, you were a big spark for that because you had 3 really back-to-back threes. What was going through your head whenever you just caught fire?
Kind of what Coach tells me all the time is just keep shooting, because I know I started off like 0 for 2 and my head was kind of down, but I just knew that kept taking the right shots, then they were going to beat you.
And what was it? One question, Brooks. I know you had 10 rebounds, which was a big factor. Whenever you're playing, is that something that you just seek to do? Is make sure you just help the team you can, especially today with rebounding the ball? Because I know they had a big girl down low, so.
Yeah. Coach makes emphasis on, the guards that are semi-like athletic and are supposed to rebound the ball. He made a lot of emphasis on, offensive boards and just rebounding in general. So I just think him putting that emphasis even in practice is what, carries over to games, and which is why I get the results I do in rebounding. So.
I thought that was a big key in this game. I know the first media timeout, they had 8 offensive rebounds in the first media timeout, and they finished with 15. So we did have a short conversation about that, and then we did improve on that. And I know, rebounding that's been a stat that we've improved on this year. And in that first part of the game, it wasn't where we needed it to be. And I did think we adjusted well to kind of steady the waters on that. And she was a big part of that, obviously getting 10. And I thought she was really active on the offensive glass too. That the one possession early on, it's like we couldn't get a basket. She kind of just hung out there until she got us one. And and then I think giving her credit, kind of knocking the lid off, because it goes that way sometimes. And they have to shoot good shots, and then they have to stay steady mentally. If it is, I think that so many people are results based rather than process based. So they can make the world's worst shot that is forced and over 9 people, and if it goes in, they feel great. And then if our offense works great, somebody's wide open on the wing and it doesn't go in, we feel awful. And actually the good possession is the one that we moved the ball around and ended up with a shot that didn't go in. If you do that and do that and do that and do that and do that, you're a good offensive team. At the end of the year, you'll be a good offensive team. And so I do think they have to get out of their own ways a little bit about shooting the right shot and it not going in. I don't care. If it's the right shot, shoot it again. Shoot it again.
You're gonna have days where shots just don't go in, but the hustle stats, the rebounding, the defense were there. You gotta like that as a coach. When those things start to drift in, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I do think that over time, this program has really improved at that. Mm-hmm. We can win on days that it ain't happening, and we are a better offensive team than our numbers say, And Thursday, they may look the same. We don't know. We don't know. But you have to get on the floor. You have to be tough to score on. You have to still rebound. And I know we've grown a lot over time about our baseline effort has improved. And I know for a fact it has improved. Is it perfect? No, and it's not where I want it to be. I think it's really good for about 22 minutes every time we play. And I keep saying that to them. We've got to increase how long we play well. And it's basketball, and there's runs. There's stretches where you don't play well. It's part of it. But we can't play for 22 minutes and expect to feel good in that locker room when it's done. And that's a challenge that I'm getting after them about right now, is we have to stay focused for longer. Have to stay focused for longer. So I think our top end, we show our top end often, and it's pretty good. But I also know when we relax, and it's on, and it's on our top end, but the consistency of maybe the structure and the process needs to improve. It needs to happen for longer periods of time.
There was one short series there that demonstrates that. Paige took a shot, missed it, starts heading back down the court. Well, you guys got the offensive rebound. And I noticed you said something to her, I don't know what it was. But then the next time down, there's a loose ball. Man, she's on the floor hustling and grabs it. And then you're talking to her again, you're smiling, you probably remember this. And it looked like you were encouraging her there. That kind of what you're talking about was that kind of series?
Yeah. And I think that I thought Paige played her best basketball she's played at Marshall today. That's practice, games, everything. I thought she finally got her nose in there and was good, And she can shoot the ball. It didn't go in today, but I thought she shot it with a lot of confidence, and that's what she should be thinking. But I thought she did make some tough plays. And, I had a conversation with her about that. I had a conversation with Savannah about that, about it doesn't matter if that shot goes in. Like, I don't care about that. You're gonna make a lot of shots in your career. You're going to miss a lot of shots in your career. And there's so much in between. That is what matters. That is what matters. And, that's probably, I think that is a really, that's like a college level lesson, honestly. And there's so much more float time available in a high school game, kind of. And that's not dogging high school. There's very good high schools around here. There's very good programs, but they also can, everywhere. In high school, you can relax, and you'll still be there. Kadesha was one of the best athletes in Bristol, Connecticut. She could relax and probably hang out for a little bit, and she could still raise her hand, and it was hard to score over her. And learning that it's all the time in between when you make the shot, that matters at this level. It's just a lesson, and we're all still learning it. Honestly, we're all still learning. The older you get, the easier it is to understand that. But you know, I do think that at times we're pretty tough, but I want that time to last longer.
Yeah. How about the two of you as veterans, you know, helping coach teach the youngsters this, you know, the lesson that he's just talking about? Do you take that upon yourselves a little bit too? Obviously you lead by example, but do you talk them up as well?
You go ahead first.
I think before we even got into the season, the coaches sat me down and were asking me, you know, you need to be a leader for the freshmen that are coming in. I kind of struggled with that in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I think as the season's going on and the games are continuing, you know, I feel like I'm getting used to being able to communicate with them differently in ways that will make them more effective on the court. So I think, and just in general, it's just made me overall a better basketball player and a better teammate. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, like they just said, we knew coming into the season that was going to be a big responsibility for the both of us and then a couple of the other returners on the team. And you kind of just have to think back to my freshman year and how I learned new offense, knew everything that you had in college, and it's kind of a repetition, people telling me where to be, what to do over and over again, and then eventually it'll stick in there. So.
Good. You got good examples for you all then. Good.
Focus then is on intangible things a lot, isn't it?
I mean,
The effort.
yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like I coach that a lot. You know, and honestly, that's what I told them after the game was when I can coach that a little bit less, then we'll get up there near where we're capable of playing. But I think our team's head is in a good place. You know, it's just kind of like, can we continue to grow without walking in there and feeling bad about the lesson that's taught? That you know, and I don't know the answer to that. You know, can we continue to push forward and without having a hiccup that makes us go, oh, okay, now I get it. You know, and honestly, the other day at Ohio was a hiccup. We should have had a chance to be in there at the end. We backed off in the fourth quarter. They made 2 shots, we missed 2, and then we let them have it. You know, and we saw in the first half that we could steady ourselves and mount a charge back. And you know, I was a little bit disappointed in that, quite frankly, in the fourth quarter at Ohio. You know, I wanted to bow up on them and go back at them, and I thought we did that for 3 quarters. At the end, we didn't. So, but you know, good win today. I do know, you know, they've got their next task in hand already. We've got a very good team coming in here on Thursday night. They've had a tough schedule, I think, of road games Division I wise. But you can pop the tape in and watch them play against Nebraska. It was a tie game going into the fourth quarter up there at Nebraska. They are fast. They play hard. You know, they chase rebounds. It's going to be a heck of a game on Thursday night in here, and I think it's time for, you know, another challenge, and I think it comes at a good time, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what we can do in the next 2 days to come out and play improved basketball on Thursday.
Good.
The intangible things you can talk about that the players have to experience to win, and then you tie the win together with the improvement in the intangible.
I mean, that's what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
You want to do it while you're winning, you
Yeah.
know. And I do know that the program generally has grown a lot in leadership and things like that. It can still improve, but we learned a lot towards the end of last year. You know, it took us a while to figure out that these are the things that actually help you win. You know, and you do hope that you can figure that stuff out while you're winning. But basketball's a long year, and you know, sometimes Evansville beats Kentucky, and sometimes you don't play quite the way you want. I think tonight, I think we are a better offensive team than what those numbers say, and you know, we just have to keep our nose down, move the ball, stick it when we get our shot. But I do think I see a progression on most things, and that's good this time of year. That's what should happen. I think the only thing that needs to come on is we've got to extend the periods of good basketball.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.